Hello everyone, welcome back to Edubbey Global Solution. What we'll be discussing today is known as international specialization. Of course, we have heard what specialization is in our previous content. Now we now have the specialization at national level or international level. Now, first, what how do we understand specialization? Specialization refers to the process of concentrating on and become expert in a particular skill, while specialization at national level is when the nation concentrates its productive effort on producing a limited variety of goods and service they are really productive at and have advantages over economic. That is, they concentrate on productive efforts on what they knew perfectly to produce. Now, let us move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we have one past question here. When are countries most likely to specialize and trade with each other? Now we have, is it when they have access to the same technology, when the cost of transfer between them is high, or when they have high tariff and other protective measures, when there are large differences in their resources allocation, when are they most likely to specialize in trade with each other? Of course, it is when they have large difference in their resources allocation. Now we move to the next slide. Move to the next slide, we now have the basis for specialization at national level. Of course, specialization is determined on the basis of either superior resources allocation or cheaper production method. How do we mean? Basis on resources allocation, we are talking about the absolute advantages, and when we are talking about cost of production, we are talking about what? Comparative advantage. Now let us drag this. We have absolute advantage to be the average superior production capability. That is, it is also referred to the ability to produce a certain goods and service more efficiently than other country with the same with the same amount of resources, or producing the same amount of goods or services with fewer resources. Now we now have the comparative advantages, as it is an economic ability to produce a particular goods or service at a lower opportunity cost than another country, that is in terms of other goods and service being forgone than another country. Now let us check, we are good to go. We move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we now have the advantages of what? Advantages of specialization at national level. First point, we have economies of scale and efficiency. Of course, just like specialization by individuals, countries can specialize in what they do best according to our definition, and this will also lead to efficiency and economic of scale. We also have job creation. Of course, job creation leads to an increased output, and therefore it leads to more investment and jobs are created. It also allows more international trade to take place, and also serve as revenue to the government. Of course, as income increase and more trade takes place, it can increase government revenues from what? From taxes. Of course, we know that the main revenue for government is known as taxes. Now we have consumer sovereignty. Of course, consumer across the globe will also be able to buy cheap and high quality products from around the world through specialization. Also wide market. Of course, specialization and trade allow them to sell their products to international market, and which build international brand and increase market profit. Now we have one past question. Beside these advantages, why can specialization cause economic growth? Well, specialization can mean that firm in a country will face diseconomic of scale. Is that so? Of course, no. Specialization can allow a country to produce many different goods and services. Specialization can lead to a reduction in the average cost of production, or specialization can reduce a country's needs to depend on other economic of scale. Of course, it can lead to a reduction in average cost of production, that is our economic of scale and efficiency. Now we move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we also have one past question here. A country specialized in the production of steel, toys, and textile. What is the disadvantage of specialization for the country's workers? Now let us check out our options. They have too much choice which waste their time. Which waste their time? No. They could become structural unemployed if the global demand change. They have to learn a variety of skills. They cannot afford to buy products from other countries. Of course, they could become structural unemployed if global demand change through specialization. Now we move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we now have the disadvantages of international specialization. Firstly, here we have employment opportunity. Employment opportunity doesn't serve as disadvantages of international specialization. It breaks trade between countries. Now we have threat of foreign competition. Of course, non-specialized industry of a country will face competition from the foreign country. Here we have threat of foreign competition. We have risk of what? Risk of over specialization, because more international dependent on other country for trade. Any global economy will change greatly affect with country. We have risk of over specialization. We also have structural unemployment. Of course, national level specialization usually creates more jobs, but a risk that certain type of structural unemployment might occur. Here we have over exploitation of resources. Of course, outputs may increase by over exploitation today, and international specialization and trade is causing rapid depletion. Here we have over exploitation of resources. Now let us check. We are good to go. Now we move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we also have the disadvantages of international specialization here in our past question. What is the disadvantage of increasing international specialization? Resources may be used less efficiently as domestic firms face less competition. Is that so? The domestic firm may be uncompetitive, leading to structural unemployment. Consumers pay higher prices for goods and services, reducing their welfare. Domestic firms may experience rising costs as they pay more import. Of course, domestic firms may be uncompetitive, which leads to structural unemployment. Now we move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, we also have one past question here about specialization. What is the disadvantage of increased specialization by a country? Now let us check out these options. It results in access to a greater variety of goods for consumers. It results in lower costs for home produced goods. It reduces the potential for international trade. It becomes more reliant on import to meet all its needs. Of course, if there is an increase in specialization by a country, it becomes more reliant on import to meet all its needs. That is that on international specialization. Stay tuned to our website www.edubbey.com. See you in the next class.